Inside Africa, in association with Zenith Bank.
From runways to social media, Nigerian fashion designers are attracting a global audience.
It's amazing what they're actually doing, especially now that Africa is in the zeitgeist. You know, everyone wants a piece of Africa.
Catching the attention of some of the industry's biggest names.
I'm always excited when I come here because I know I'm going to find stuff that's not everywhere else.
A generation of entrepreneurs raised on the internet, using today's tools to reach the world.
I knew that we were going to go far, but it's just amazing to see how far our little shopper bags have gotten to.
These are the fashionistas redefining what it means to be a Nigerian creative.
Fashion is more than just clothing, it's about a lifestyle.
This is Inside Africa.
Hi, welcome to my studio. Here's a little shrine for my plants. Come in. Those are some of my latest pieces on the rack.
Fashion designer Ian Odiferen finds peace and inspiration in nature and art.
It's the little things that give me joy. It's my plants, it's flowers. Every day I'm waking up and just waiting for a new experience.
Designing clothing is now second nature for Ian, who founded fashion label ZAR Studios in 2014. But it wasn't his original career path.
I was just in microbiology to satisfy what my dad wanted me to do. But I knew all that while that I would end up in fashion. I actually didn't plan to be a fashion designer. I started off making shirts while I was still in uni. And from then on, I got the attention of the blogs, and then there was Instagram that also helped to propel the fashion journey. The major challenges that you face running a fashion brand here, infrastructure and finances. You're faced with these challenges of power. There's a whole production chain that needs to be paid. You constantly have to keep implementing ways to ensure that the business is sustainable.
While the global fashion industry has slowed down during the COVID-19 pandemic, it didn't come to a complete standstill in Nigeria.
The winner goes home with $100,000.
In December of 2020, media group Arise held a competition for young designers during its COVID-compliant Fashion Week in Lagos. And it had the support of one of the world's biggest supermodels.
I used to intern with Arise years ago when they started. I would work backstage and coordinate the models. Fast forward years later, I am on the runway showcasing my pieces. The influence it has on your brand it's great. You get exposure, you get PR, and you get some sort of a grant.
Elevating young African designers like Ian is something supermodel Naomi Campbell is passionate about.
I feel that it's been going on for too long, that designers on the continent have not gotten a platform in the fashion capitals in the world. Fashion is not supposed to discriminate.
In addition to hosting the competition and helping judge the designs, the supermodel also took the opportunity to bring a little something extra to the runway.
When I first saw Naomi in my piece, I was actually quite startled. I had no idea that she was going to wear my piece. And she got on the runway and, by default, lit it on fire. I think about my humble beginnings and, the whole struggle of trying to meet deadlines and just be disciplined. It's so easy to quit. But moments like that make it worthwhile. Yeah, you literally live for moments like that.
Over the past few years, Naomi has made efforts to bridge the gap between African designers on the continent and the global fashion industry.
What made me decide to fly here during this pandemic is I want these young under 30s and designers across the continent to have a platform. They need to be seen too. They need to know that they're recognized and appreciated in the world of creative fashion like all the other young rising stars in fashion capitals.
I like that. Now that when I'm designing, my creative process is not stifled. I'm not thinking, oh, will this work here? And I know that, okay, I will cater to a certain demographic, you know, because I now have a more global audience. It's actually quite a relief.
For Ian, international attention and reach notwithstanding, each piece he creates is crafted with intention.
When I'm able to influence the people that I dress, when I can influence their way of life and their train of thought, and that transcends onto a broader level to the people around them, that's success for me.
This is the future across the board. Whether it's fashion, tech, art, it is the youngsters that are now stepping forward. It's their time, it's their voice.
So welcome to my space. This is the Siciano studio in Lekki, Lagos, and yeah, the clothes are here. As a creative, I've never done anything from the beginning because I was passionate about it.
Looking at Paolo Siciano, it's hard to believe that's true. The Nigerian-Italian designer, artist, and dancer exudes creativity. But getting into fashion was all about the business, at least at first.
When I started fashion, it wasn't, this is something I'm passionate about. It was, this is something that I need to transition into to be able to sustain myself. So it was about selling clothes. It wasn't about creating art yet. If you put time into something long enough, you tend to fall in love with it. I've always loved art. I was born into a family of artists. When I started painting, I wanted something that was unique to me. Expression is based off of where you are and where you're coming from. And I like that when I look at the different aspects that I have and I've been blessed with, I see me. Growing up, I was very sure I was going to be on TV, like on the screen.
But after a few disappointments, that's when he discovered the art form that would inspire him to bring something different to the Nigerian fashion scene.
I have a dance background, contemporary major. I was doing costume design in dance, and it was because we didn't have the right costumes. So my love for fashion design was created from dance. And that's why if you see the garments, it's really a reflection of movements. You know the way the ocean moves around? That's the whole idea of the brand. It's unfair to say any of my expressions would be my favorite, but based on experience, it has to be dance. Dance just ties everything in, because when I'm not feeling so great, I can't design. But if you play music and I just close my eyes and just move.
Like fellow Nigerian designer Ian Odiferen, homegrown platforms have taken Paolo's brand beyond the country's borders.
I was, first of all, seen on Lagos Fashion Week in 2013. I went on to show every single year afterwards. I got on Vogue. I went for International Fashion Showcase in London. I went to South Africa for a show. And each time I was out of the space, which is Lagos, Nigeria, I felt like it was so empowering.
Supermodel Naomi Campbell agrees that leaving the nest can be a good thing, especially for young designers.
Each time you do something is an experience that carries with you, that makes you stronger, that makes you wiser, that makes you know something more about fabrics or how things are done. you know, you travel, if you can go to different countries and learn about a different culture that inspires you.
While Naomi and Paolo advocate for inclusivity across the industry, Paolo notes African designers still need to exercise a bit of caution.
We need to be sure as to who we are, because the international space is always trying to create a narrative for us, whereby we should be sending a narrative. In terms of how the international space looks inward into Africa, for me as a creative, it's very one-directional. I am a generation that is a mix. So we travel, we see things, well, online, you can be inspired by anything. To now want to box that in, to say it should be indigenous, we kind of defeat the purpose of looking inward.
In the future, Paolo plans to build on his past in order to create a legacy of his own.
The one person that always inspires me would have to be Vivian, my mom. I grew up with an extremely fashionable black woman living in the middle of Rome. She had carved out something that was personal to her. And that's how I built Siciano. It's really been about presenting something that no one else was doing. The future for Paolo would be very simple. It would be about finding and staying in the space of happiness. Everything I do, with love, with love, with love.
Nigerian fashion creatives are making waves at home and worldwide.
I just love how far they go in their creative mind. They do what they want. They don't follow a trend.
Local platforms and international support have given these designers opportunities and exposure to a global audience.
I was, first of all, seen on Lagos Fashion Week in 2013. I went into show every single year afterwards, and it just kind of showed that I was getting the job done.
I like that now that when I'm designing, my creative process is not stifled because I now have a more global audience. I feel like I can express myself in the way that I want to.
Meanwhile, off the runway, the rise of e-commerce has launched a new type of fashion entrepreneur, able to reach the world with just the click of a button.
Welcome to our new office. So we just moved in, so we're still all settling in. And this is our sewing room.
Sophia Ike Onu is the CEO and founder of The 5K Shop, an online store specializing in affordable fashion made in Nigeria.
Because if she's ordering that classic shirt dress, it makes sense to order the blue one.
Her experience as a student in Nigeria sparked the big idea, which she founded in 2014.
I studied architecture at Covenant University in Nigeria for my undergrad. Then I went ahead to the UK for my master's degree. In the UK, you know, you have the whole high street fashion. You can get like affordable fashion right up to luxury or high end. At the time, schooling in Nigeria, you know, we really didn't have that middle point. I knew I had to do something. And at the time, the e-commerce or fashion commerce terrain in Nigeria was just bleak.
With a master's degree and a job offer on the table after moving back, Sophia's decision to go into e-commerce in 2013 was risky.
When I started the 5kshop.com, we were just 3 fashion e-commerce businesses with running websites. And even then, social commerce like Instagram shopping wasn't even a thing. People were saying, why do you want to get a website? Nigerians are not open to using websites. And people still say that now. So imagine how it was 6.5 years ago. I got here and I dropped architecture. My dad couldn't understand. But I knew that that was the best time. It was ripe. The market was there for the taking.
In the UK, British-Nigerian stylist Irene Agbotine launched a niche fashion brand in 2013 as well.
I'm a boss chick. Yeah, you heard.
Her idea was born out of a lack of options for women who are 5'9" or taller.
Stay on top of the world and my money right.
I felt like as a tall woman, from the outside, we see like all these beautiful models strolling down the runways, campaign, but actually there wasn't anything that was specifically cut to fit us.
She founded TTYA London, which stands for Taller Than Your Average. Her entree into the fashion world was through one of London's high-end department stores.
My first retail job is so crazy because it was at Selfridges. I started to see like the different mechanics behind the fashion.
She eventually moved to New York for an opportunity with Complex magazine, only to return to the UK around 2009.
So working at Selfridges has showed me the retail side of fashion. So now I had retail, I had editorial, and then the recession hit. So I moved back to London, and it's so crazy because I actually started working at ASOS as a stylist. And again, from there, I learned and began to understand e-commerce. Whilst working at ASOS, I started to see how much product was retouched because a lot of the models were just as tall as me. And I just felt like, well, this is nice, but we can't retouch me in the real world. I can't magically make my jeans fit in the real world, you know? I'm 5'11" myself. I can understand the struggles, so why don't I just create something that would be essential for them and also essential for myself? So it was a bit of a selfish motive, to be honest.
But for both Sophia and Irene, facing and solving these problems turned out to be beneficial for so many others.
If I'm really honest, I didn't expect it to boom so quickly, and I wasn't really prepared for that. I hadn't really thought about marketing, PR. Like, I had to a certain degree, but not how much it was going to impact the business.
We have lots of word-of-mouth marketing, and I truly believe that our customers are like our walking billboards. Nigerians are everywhere. That's the truth.
The benefit of growing up with the internet is how do we utilize that in a business setting. It's been a great asset, social media and the internet, in playing on boosting TTYA. And to be honest, I wouldn't be where I am right now without social media. I still wanted to have that direct impact with my customers. So I thought, let me utilize my network. I remember like gifting some stuff to Jordan Dunn, and she was one of the first models that got papped wearing my clothes. So I was just really lucky in that my network at the time was very resourceful for me.
So in 2014 or 15 actually, I won the British Council Enterprise Challenge. One of the prizes was to meet and be mentored by Sir Richard Branson of Virgin Atlantic. When I met Richard Branson, I got him some gifts, you know, from things that we made, and he made a video.
You better shop at the 5K shop or I'll come around to your house.
It was a huge nod or a huge endorsement for us because it was spread all over social media. You don't understand how much those things help you reinforce your legitimacy to people. This happened because I just followed my dream. It was a tiny dream to me at the time, but it's grown into something that is even beyond me.
Sophia Ike Onu has run the 5K shop since 2014. In that time, slow and steady expansion has been the name of the game, while keeping the ethos of the brand in mind.
I wouldn't put out something that I wasn't proud to have my name on. I wanted our stuff to still be affordable and still have a certain level of quality. So value was my keyword at the time and still is.
The brand has evolved over time, starting with a pivot in 2016.
I knew that I wasn't going to be importing for the long haul. That I knew. We started producing, designing our own things. So now we actually have a label, which is T5S. T5S pieces are not bound by 5,000 naira cap, but they're still quite affordable for the value that we give. And our strength is in our repeat customers. We have a huge ratio of like 70% return customers.
Her goal is to grow the business even bigger, and she credits her family and friends for supporting and inspiring her to follow her dreams.
I come from a family of 8, 6 kids and 2 parents. They're just really supportive. Most of my first purchases came from them. And my friends, I have really amazing friends I've had for like over a decade. Hello, welcome to my home. So during my downtime, I love to host my friends and just chill. My friends are here today. Say hi, guys. Hi.
In her new home, which she designed herself, Sophia makes sure to surround herself with positivity.
appetit. Food is ready, so come and get yours. I just like good vibes because once I'm settled in my space, like I'm happy, people around me are happy, I feel like I can deliver more in my day-to-day. Those are the things in a nutshell that make me really happy and make me put my best foot forward at work.
After 7 years of running an online fashion brand, Sophia was ready for something more concrete.
This is our new proposed site for our first physical store ever. We've always been online. So now, I guess the 5K shop is going online and offline. We've been working on a store for about 4 months now. The virus and pandemic has sort of like slowed down construction. Nothing that beats the beauty of physical feel, when you can feel the fabric that, oh, it's actually not bad quality. I can't wait to see how the hybrid of online and offline will work. I'm going to design the interior myself, so I can't wait for that, to play around with that as well.
Even with a thriving e-commerce business and the new foray into a brick-and-mortar space, Sophia says she still has a lot more in store for her business and for other women in the fashion industry.
Right now, I do a lot of like mentorship. I don't have any personal mentee for now, but I do a lot of email mentorship. I have things that I'm planning, especially for female tailors, female people in fashion tech or just in fashion commerce in Africa. I want to see more people identifying and saying, you know, I bought this from the 5K shop, I got this from T5S. I want us to be just a more relatable African brand. We're at a really comfortable point where we can say we definitely know where we started from, miles and miles apart, but we don't stop dreaming here. We want more.
Whether at home or abroad, on runways or online, these designers and fashion entrepreneurs are part of a bold new breed of Nigerian creatives for whom the world is wide open, for business and for expression.
It's about finding what works for you, and that takes a bit of time. You still need to ask yourself the question of, is it really worth it? And then when you answer that question, that's where the push just continues.
My first thing that I always say is know your why. Most people just do stuff because everyone is doing stuff. When you do that, you get tired.
I think we do kind of have a duty to crack open some of those doors and then for the next generation to come and like push them all the way open, you know?
I hope that the world now will recognize Africa as a fashion capital.
Inside Africa, in association with Zenith Bank.